Hi friends! I just wanted to check in and tell you what I am excited about for Vogue Knitting Live this weekend. It is Monday, Martin Luther King Day, and I am off from work, so I thought I would just take a minute or two to just tell you about my plans. Sorry about the pinging, the messaging and stuff. I don't see this as a comprehensive review of what will be at Vogue Knitting Live, just rather what I'm excited about. And then I will be following up this video with a recap of Vogue Knitting Live from my perspective. So I'll be sharing with you my experience at Vogue Knitting Live. This is my third year going to Vogue Knitting Live. And I am super excited. I just realized I don't have... hang on, I'm going to, wait, here it is. I wanted to start with Friday. So what I will be doing on Friday, I am leaving my house and heading in early. The marketplace opens on Friday at 5 p.m. I think, or 5:30. 5:30? 5 at 5. It opens at 5. But I want to go into the city a little early and head over to, I live in New Jersey, by the way, if you're a new viewer and you're just tuning in to check out what I'm dishing about Vogue Knitting Live. I live very close to the city, not very close, but it's like a 45-minute train ride. So I will go into New York on Friday morning and head up to Tender Buttons. I've talked about them before in my past episodes. They're a tiny little button shop that has been in existence in New York City for several decades. I learned about them in 1985 in my very first design job in New York. I was a very, very young, naive adult. So yeah, I'm gonna swing by there because I have 2 sweaters planned. I've got the yarn already. I have the yarn swatched that are going to be cardigans. So I want to select buttons for them. So I'm gonna head up there. They open, I think, around 10:30. So I'm gonna try to get there about 11 o'clock. Sorry, my phone is gonna ping again in a minute. And I will plan on getting to Vogue at about 1:30. So I'm gonna grab some buttons, get some lunch, get over to Vogue, to the Marriott Marquis where Vogue will be held, Vogue Knitting will be held. And I have my first event at from 2 to 3. I am attending a lecture with Nora Gahn, and it is called My Digital Design Toolbox. And it will be about, Nora is going to talk about how she uses digital tools to design. So I thought that would be pretty interesting. And then I'm following that lecture up with a lecture with Laura Bryant, and it is a lecture called It's a Numbers Game. And I don't remember really what that's about, but I remember I thought it was interesting when I signed up for it. That's all I'm doing. I'm not taking any classes. I'm just attending those 2 lectures. The second lecture ends at 4:30, so that gives me a little bit of a break, like a potty break and a water break before the marketplace opens. So the marketplace opens at 5. I'm sure the queue will be starting before that. I found that shopping on Fridays is very much more relaxing than shopping on Saturday. I will be attending on Saturday as well, but I'm seeing Friday as my primary shopping day where I really hope to get around and look at everything. So I've got the map in front of me. The map is only available digitally. They won't be giving them out at the event. So they're asking everyone to download the Vogue Knitting app, and then on the Vogue Knitting app you can find the floor map of where things are, like the show guide. They call it a show guide. You can find it online this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to be printing this out before I go and connecting so if you see here, there's a little grid. I don't know if my camera's going to focus on that. So you can see the 5th floor grid, and then next to it is alphabetically. How can I make it? Yeah, there. Now you can see it. So there's an alphabetical list over here that's showing who the vendors will be. But besides these vendors that are listed here, there are other vendors who are or people whose yarn will be there that are sort of hidden behind whoever's booth they're in. So some of them are out in the open, some of them are hidden. I'm not up on all of them that are hidden. There's a handful, only because I follow them on Instagram, that I happen to catch that they will be in such and such a booth. So I'm excited about that. Okay, so first off, this is not in any particular order. I just took a note card, an index card, and wrote myself some notes as I saw, and I just kept it in my living room where I could write down, you know, whenever I caught something on Instagram, I could just write down so I would remember that it was something that I wanted to look at. So I'm gonna just go through this alphabetical list here. So Annie and Company, Needlepoint and Knitting, they will have a two booth wide section. So a booth is about the size of like 12 by 12. I don't know if that's it exactly, but more or less it's like 12 by 12. It's pretty small. So a double-sized booth means it'll be like 12 by 24. So Annie and Company have a double-sized booth. I think it's on the 5th floor. So the marquee has 2 floors that are set up for conferences. So this Vogue Knitting Live will be in both of them, both 5th and 6th floor. And then there's also classrooms and stuff like that in it. So I think those 2 booths are here. I'm just looking for the numbers on him. Yeah, they're here. They're on the 5th floor. They will be bringing, I'm sure, loads of stuff, but I primarily want to see Alex Creates yarn. He posted online on Instagram a color that he dyed up just for Vogue Knitting Live, and I'm curious to see it. So I want to go and make sure I see them. I know there's someone else. It's on the tip of my tongue, but I don't think I have it listed here. Yeah, someone else will be there too. Then going further down, Brooklyn General Store, she will have La Bien-Aimée, which I purchased my first La Bien-Aimée at last Vogue Knitting Live, and I'm knitting it into a sweater right now. It's a fingering weight. I bought she only had her singles base at last year's Vogue Knitting Live, and she was part of the Stephen and Penelope booth. So this year will be part of the Brooklyn General Store booth. She will also have a double-sized booth on the 5th floor, I believe. Let me just make sure. Yeah, on the 5th floor. So she'll have La Bien-Aimée and also Farmer's Daughter yarn. So I'm interested in seeing both of those. Oh, I didn't finish my thoughts on La Bien-Aimée. So La Bien-Aimée last year only had the singles base. So I bought 3 a sweater's quantity. And I'm currently knitting a fingering weight sweater that's also colorwork, so it's taking me a while. I probably won't finish it before February, March, something like that. I'm not in a hurry with it. It's like a very complicated colorwork sweater. But I'm curious to see if she's got any of her other bases, so I want to check that out. I have nothing in mind for these things. Some of them I'm just going to buy just because they're pretty. What other reason do you need? Okay, then Farmer's Daughter yarn, I just want to check it out, squish it, and stuff like that. I know that there's something else at Brooklyn General besides. I saw something recently, and I don't remember what it is, but I'm looking forward to checking out whatever she brings. She always brings pretty good stuff. Cat Sandwich Fibers will be sharing a booth with Machete Shop. They're in a single booth together. I am not all that familiar with Machete Shop. She's most famous, as far as I can tell, for her advent calendar. I guess it's in high demand. Cat Sandwich Fibers is a New Jersey dyer who is, she is fairly young, and I don't know if she's gone full-time dyeing yet, or if she's planning to, but she's been posting like crazy about stuff that she's been dyeing for Vogue Knitting Live, and I didn't realize she had her own booth or was going to be in a booth. I thought she was going to be with a store, because a lot of knitting stores will buy booths, and then like Brooklyn General, and then they will show, you know, showcase other yarn dyers. I don't really know how it all works. I find it very confusing, like who's where with who. Like someone who was with one person one year is with someone else the next year. I don't know. I don't know what happens behind the scenes. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Cat Sandwich Fibers and Machete Shop's booth. Going down the list, I mean, there are a lot of other vendors. It's not that I'm not excited to see them. I just don't even know what they have. I don't know what to expect. The Fiberists are going to be there in their own booth, also on the 5th floor, and it looks like I mean, they have some interesting yarns. I'm interested to see what all they have. Lady Di Yarn will also be on the 5th floor. I'm excited to see her stuff. She's showcasing a few other people's work besides just hers. I'm 2 or 3 other people I want to say, but I just expect that booth to be very colorful and very vibrant and full of energy, because if you follow Lady Di on Instagram, she is full of energy. So should be fun. Should be a fun booth. Okay, what else? Just going along here. Nice and Knit is another vendor who has their own booth. I don't know if it's her first time or not, but I also follow her on Instagram and enjoy her content, and I'm looking forward to seeing her. Morehouse Farm is another one. They're also on the 5th floor, and I think they're going to be there. I'm looking forward to squishing their yarn. I don't know what I'll buy. Let's see. Moving on. Plucky Knitter. As far as I know, Plucky Knitter has not been at Vogue before now, but she may have been. I just may not have been aware of hers. 2 years ago when I went, I was obsessed with indie dyers. I was building my indie dyed library, and I really wanted to just buy indie dyed yarn. So I didn't pay much attention to anybody else, and though Plucky Knitter is indie dyed, I was looking for highly speckled yarn because that's, for some reason, I just had to have that. I'm not that person anymore, so I'm now looking for, in fact, with Plucky Knitter, I can tell you exactly what I'm looking for. I bought this sport base. I think this is called Primo Sport Base. I have 2 skeins of it, and it was going to be a contrast color in a design that I was planning. That design has now been reconfigured using different yarn. It turned out this did not sit well with the yarn I was intending it to be with. And I ended up rejiggering both those yarns, this yarn and the other yarn I was intending to put this with. The other yarn that I was intending to put this with is now going to be another design, and then I put in 2 other yarns, some Green Mountain Spinnery actually, into the design that I was intending for this. So now I have 2 skeins of this gorgeous MCN base in a sport weight. 2 skeins will not make a sweater. I don't need any more shawls. I don't want to make any shawls. I'm a garment knitter. So I don't know what I'm going to do with this, but I thought I might go by the Plucky Knitter booth and see if I could pick up another color in a sweater's quantity where this could be the supporting player in that sweater. That's my thought. So I'm interested to see Plucky for this purpose, for the purpose of purchasing some of this, as well as so I have a design idea for a sport weight yarn, but I need a sweater's quantity. Okay, so I'm interested to see what else they have as well, just to see. I've heard so much about it, and one of the things, like, yes, like Plucky Knitter's yarn, like so many of these other vendors, they're available online, and you can easily access them if you're, if it's a United States vendor and you're in the United States, you're probably not going to get killed on shipping unless you're buying a massive amount, and it's accessible. But it's sometimes hard to buy online because you don't know how the hand is. You're not sure how it feels. You're not sure how it knits up. And it's kind of nice to have, to see it. So a lot of what I'll be doing will be looking at yarn without actually purchasing necessarily, just looking at it with ideas for the future, to save for the future. So then at least I have felt it, I know what it's like. And if I have buyer's remorse, I can always go online and buy more. Also, I will be looking for show specials. Show specials. Hi, vendors, show specials. Not show ripoffs, show specials. Nothing irks me more than seeing a vendor mark up their prices. I will be paying attention to that, and if you mark up your prices, I may never buy from you again. That's how pissed off I get when I see that happen. So just be forewarned, vendors. I'm used to show specials, not show ripoffs. So who needs you? Like, I don't need to buy from you at a show if you're gonna rip me off. And maybe I don't need to buy from you at all if you're gonna rip me off. Think about it. It's called good business sense. Okay, Starlight Knitting Society will also be there. I follow them on Instagram as well, which you're gonna see a theme that to most of these people I follow on Instagram. And I think they're showcasing certain indie dyers. I'm curious, they're a West Coast yarn shop. I think they're from Oregon. I think they might be in Portland or somewhere in Oregon. So I'm curious to see what they're gonna bring this way. I'm hoping that they'll bring some stuff that's usually out of reach for the East Coast, like a verb for keeping warm. I don't know what else. But yeah, I would just like to see, again, with this idea that I'm gonna see it. And again, if things are overpriced, or if they're priced higher than what I can find online on my, why? I don't need to buy it from you at Vogue. I can buy it from you after. Okay. Stephen West will have his own booth, and it looks like it's right by the registration area on the 5th floor. It's where Christy Glass was last year, if you were there last year. I think that's awesome. That guy should have his own booth. If you see the crowds that form around him, man needs his own booth. Good idea, Stephen. So I look forward to seeing him. He's a delight. I like to listen to him too. He did a talk last year on Friday evening, which was really, really cool. He announced his new book. Maybe he'll do the same, because I think this is the kickoff for his new book, which it looks so artsy. I love it. Love, love, love it. Traveling Yarn will also be there. They are, I believe, also a West Coast yarn vendor. I have bought some of her yarn in the past. I do really like it. She's got some interesting bases. I made my Tegna out of 2 different skeins from 2 different vendors, and I believe one of them was hers. Yes, it was a 50-50 silk merino blend called Saltwater. So I'm looking forward to seeing her yarn as well. Woolen will also be there. I don't know whose yarn. They're a shop. I don't know whose yarn they'll have, but I'm interested to see. Okay, moving to the 6th floor. Let me see who's here that I am interested in. Oh, on the 6th floor, Clinton Hill Cashmere, which I participated in the Christy Glass Knits Clinton Hill Cashmere knit along, and I'm gonna be wearing my sweater on Friday. It's done. I just have to put buttons on it. I'll be talking about my sweater in an upcoming episode, in a regular update, what I'm working on, my finished objects and my works in progress video coming up. But I have 2 full skeins and about a half a skein of yarn left from the yarn that I purchased. I purchased 9 skeins to make this project, and I only used 6.5. So I'm going to be curious to see what she has that I could maybe use those 2.5 skeins in something else. So I'm thinking I'm going to purchase another 4, maybe 5 skeins to make another cashmere sweater. We'll see. We'll see. Green Mountain Spinnery will be there. Again, I'm going alphabetical. Green Mountain Spinnery will be on the 6th floor as well. I don't know if they've been there before either. They may have been, and I might have just walked right by, but I fell in love with their yarn at Rhinebeck this year. I missed them in the Rhinebeck in subsequent years too. I knew about them. I've known about them for a really, really long time. They're an old organization, oldish organization, several decades old organization. They were spinning yarn and making it accessible to hand knitters in small quantities for a long, long while, when sometimes they were the only, like often I felt like they were the only ones, or very, you know, the only ones who were well known that were doing that. So I really love their yarns. They're priced to sell, and I'm looking forward to seeing them and seeing more yarn. I have right now at this recording, I have 2 sweaters quantity of their yarn, and I have it's caked and ready for me to start casting on, along with, I think I probably have 8 different things that are ready to be cast on, for sweaters quantity ready to be cast on. Okay, I'm having trouble making my, yeah, there we go. Long Island Yarn and Farm will be on the 6th floor as well. She is right next to the stage, which is awesome. I will be a featured designer there. I don't know what time yet. We haven't communicated exactly. I suspect it'll be after 12 sometime. It'll probably be in that 12 to 2 zone, or maybe 1 to 3, somewhere around there. But I'll let you know. I'll put it on Instagram, not Facebook. I'm not on Facebook actually. I am, but I'm not active. But I'm guessing it'll be somewhere in there. I will put an announcement on Instagram about that, and I may update my show notes for this if it seems important. Neighborhood Fiber Company will also be there. I'm looking forward to seeing her. She's bringing a 50 mohair 50 silk blend yarn, and I'm in the market for what I think is best characterized as a rose gold mohair yarn, lace weight yarn. I think rose gold is probably the color that I'm looking for. Sort of a coppery color. I don't know. I mean, I don't know exactly what to call it, but I am looking to make the As If Tea by Shea Johnson. And yeah, I'm curious to see what Neighborhood Fibers Company's 50-50 blend is, because normal blend is like 70-30 or so. So I want to check that out. And I also have her yarn caked up. I bought it post Rhinebeck actually. I had regrets, buyer's remorse, or not buyer's remorse. What's it called when you, I don't know, I guess fear of missing out, FOMO. I had fear of missing out Neighborhood Fiber Company yarn. So I went on her website when I got home, and I happened upon a sale and bought some very autumnal colors. So those are ready for me to cast on and knit up as well. It's part of my projects ready to go. So yeah, I want to see that yarn, that yarn. Primrose Yarn Company, I'm sure many of you already know. She has the biggest booth at the show. She's showing her work in 6 booths that are all next to each other, and I'm just curious to see it. I do like Kelsey. I like her quite a lot as an artist and dyer. I don't have any immediate plans though to buy. I think her booth is probably going to be bananas in terms of how crowded it'll be. But I'm curious to see it. I want to see her setup. She's featuring a couple designers that are well known, and yeah, it should be interesting to see. Shelly Can will be on the 6th floor. And oh, I forgot Asylum Fibers. She will be on the 5th floor, so I'm looking forward to seeing her. Oh, and Stephen B's booth, is he on the, he's got a corner, I think he always has the same area. He has a corner booth that's near the stage. He will be there, and he will have a number of people in his booth, and one of the vendors that he'll be showing is Lavender Loon, whose work, she's one of my favorite dyers. I really, really love her yarn. I used her yarn in my Christmas sweater, and I also used it in my Isabel Kramer Durrami sweater. I have a handful of other yarns from her. I'm just curious to see what she was bringing and just checking that out. I'm sure a lot of you feel the way that I feel, a bit overwhelmed by the number of choices in terms of yarn that's out there, and I think it's sometimes hard to not chase after the shiniest, newest object. I try hard not to. I'm going to be trying really hard not to. I don't anticipate making a lot of purchases at this Vogue Knitting Live because it doesn't seem like Rhinebeck was that long ago. I know it was 3 months ago, but in between was the holidays. There was a whole lot of holiday knitting. And I have kind of queued up all of my sweaters quantities into projects that'll probably take me until about May or June to knit through. So, and I'm going to EYF. So that's in March. So I'm sort of like having a little bit of like, wow, all right, maybe I should slow down, but I may get swept up. Who knows? I can get swept up for sure. So my intention is to get around and see. There's many other vendors on here that I'm not familiar with. I'm curious to see what they brought, and I'll be interested in checking out yarns for potential new designs that I have no idea. Like I have 4 or 5, probably 5 designs planned for this year that I've already got the yarn for most of them. The sport weight, this is a potential design that I will be looking at plucky knitters for. But yeah, I want to just see what inspires me. So I'll be looking for, you know, projects, yarns that will inspire future designs for me. I think that wraps it up. I do want to spend just a few minutes, I don't want to get this too long, but I do want to spend just a few minutes talking about the diversity conversations that have happened in our community, primarily on Instagram, but there's a few happening over on Ravelry. There's a Ravelry thread about race and diversity. Let me see if I can find it real quick so I can tell you about it while I talk you through this. I do want to just tell you a little bit about me, because I don't really think that this is incredibly evident if you don't know me in life. People who know me in life know this about me, but my kids are brown. You may look at me and think, who's this white woman who's going to talk to us about race and diversity? But my adult children are all people of color, and that makes me an automatic ally. It doesn't make me perfect, though. I'm a work in progress. We're all works in progress. We're all whips. We're all whips. But it does make me painfully familiar with the challenges that go with this community, that this community is facing. And I want to I have several things to say about it. Besides, like, being a mom of people of color, I'm also an academic, and in academia, these are things, this struggle that people of color encounter every day of their lives is something that we talk about and we try to mitigate in academia on a regular basis. It's something that we've been doing for decades. We're not perfect either. I'm not perfect. I have work to do. I have more work to do. There's always more work to do. In fact, I'll give you a good example of more work that needs to be done that is in my life right now, in my professional life. If you're a returning viewer, you'll know I am administrative council chair of our university senate, and something that was brought to my attention, to my council to deal with, is a land acknowledgement. And what a land acknowledgement is just acknowledging the native people who came before us and who lived on that land ahead of us. This acknowledgement has been brought to my committee to make it an official thing, that it happens at every single event on campus. And it's a beautiful thing. And I can't believe it's 2019 and we're just getting to it. But I mean, unfortunately, for people of color, it's these little slights that add up, that just really hurt. And it's small things like a land acknowledgement that can help make it better. So yeah, I mean, I just want to say too that the issues that we have in the knitting community, we have those issues because those are in our society, and until our society is remediated, there's gonna be work to do. There's gonna be work to do. It's never gonna go away. We're going to constantly be faced with pressure from the outside communities, from communities that aren't knitting. Just like in academia, we're constantly faced with challenges in academia that are outside of our purview, and we only can do our best to police what happens inside our community and to support the way we think people should be supported, and to knock down barriers and to use what privilege we have to knock down barriers. That's what we should be doing. That's what we can be doing in knitting. it takes conscious effort. It takes conscious effort to change. And I'm speaking to you as a person who's made a lot of effort, and I still have more to do. I know I have more to do. It doesn't happen overnight. It doesn't happen just by having one conversation. It's something that you've got to think about all the time. Every time that you do something, you've got to have your eyes wide open. You have to wake up to what is going on. There's no putting your head in the sand on this. And if you do, you risk, you miss out. I don't even want to talk about what you're risking for yourself. I just want to say that you miss out. You miss out on the beautiful things that life has to offer. And we're all better. We're all much better people for diversity. Diversity makes us stronger. It makes us smarter. It makes us richer. Richer, more complex, more interesting people. I just didn't think, I didn't talk about this in my last episode because I thought I had said enough on Instagram. And, you know, also my kids aren't props. They're not my props. And I felt weird about talking about them. They're my children and I love them. And I worry every day about them and about the challenges they face because of the color of their skin. Every day. Every day. So I hope that when you are encountering and talking with and meeting and loving people of color, you remember there's someone's child, there's someone's husband, there's someone's wife, there's someone's sibling, there's someone's grandparent. And they're someone's parent too. So be empathetic, be kind, be respectful, and inform yourself. Get informed. Get informed. Okay, let's have a good Vogue Knitting Live. Bye.